Welcome to Sleepless Readings. Tonight we'll be reading a tale called I Call Her the Trash Can Girl because she will not tell me her name. Last week, a beautiful girl moved into the rundown house next door. She has long blonde hair and a slim figure. She's maybe 18, 19. The first time I saw her, she was sitting on her porch wearing denim shorts and a t-shirt and gnawing on a chicken bone. She stripped off the meat and chewed on the actual bone before crunching it in half and swallowing it down. I was attracted and disturbed in equal measure. Still, I wanted straight away to ask her out on a date, though maybe for a movie rather than a meal. I would have been amazed if she had said yes. I'm 21 and still live with my parents. I went away to college for a while, but dropped out. I stay up all night watching horror movies and playing games, and spend a good chunk of each day asleep. I know that my parents' patience is stretched to the limit. I've promised them I'll get my act in gear, find a job, and move out. I mean it, I really do, but if only there weren't so many distractions in life. With the sun set on another day, I was trying to decide what film to watch, a classic or try something new, when I noticed something moving in our backyard. My parents' house is modest. They don't have much worth stealing, and there isn't anything fancy such as security cameras. I pressed my face pretty much against the window to try and see what was out there. There are cats, foxes. I was hoping for one of those. I think they're cool. I was surprised to see it was the girl from next door. Slipped into shock as I watched her lift the lid of our trash can and start to poke around in there. And not with her hands, but with her face. She stuck her head right in there. Her hair was tied up in a ponytail, to stop it getting dirty, I thought. And then my mind went back to reeling. What the hell was she doing? My question was answered when she stood back up straight. In her mouth, she had the remains of the joint of meat we had for dinner 3 nights before, and had been providing snacks and fillings for sandwiches since. There must have been only scraps of meat left, and fat, bone, and marrow. The girl glanced around. I ducked down nervously, as if I was the one doing something weird. I chanced to look a minute later and saw her climbing back over the fence which divides our properties. I did not watch any movies that night. I sat staring at an empty screen. By dawn, my heartbeat had almost returned to normal, and I had worked out what was going on. She must have been starving. Maybe it was poverty. Maybe she was being abused. Whatever it was, she had been driven to scavenge in trash cans just to get something to eat. I had always wondered if there were people in our country living in hideous conditions like these, their suffering hidden. Well, I had seen it with my own eyes now, and I was determined to help. Blinking in the morning light, I really was not used to being up and around before mid-afternoon. I went over to her house. She must have seen me coming, because just as I stepped onto her porch, the door opened and she came out. She put her fingers to her lips. I could hear movement inside the house. Her parents, I guessed. Had she just warned me not to disturb them? I had no idea what the right thing to do was, so I decided to plow on. I cleared my throat. "I'm David," I said. "I live next door." I would start with us getting to know each other. I would gain her confidence and then be there for her, be the person she needed. She stood on her porch and looked at me. Her eyes were emerald green. I'd never been close enough before to see this. Sweat trickled down my neck, nothing to do with the heat of the day. I managed to go on. "Could I ask your name?" She tilted her head in response to my question. Her eyes grew wider. She did not speak. "Me, David," I said, and pointed at my chest. Pointed at her. "You?" Still nothing. My shoulders sagged and I sighed. "Sorry, bad joke." I don't know if there had been a moment, any connection between us, but if there had been, it was gone. I joined her in silence before finally admitting defeat. "It was nice to meet you," I said, and turned tail. The rest of that day was horrible. I could not stop thinking about her, even for a few seconds. I kept glancing out to see if she was back on the porch, but there was no sign of anyone. I spent intervals staring at my laptop. At one point, I drew 2 overlapping hearts, wrote trash can girl in one, clicked in the other, typed D, then A, then deleted the whole thing. I had never felt so dumb in my entire life, or so sad. Around dusk, I dragged myself out of the house. I walked the streets. Was this what being in love was like? If it was pretty lousy. Then I had a brainwave. The way to this girl's heart was clearly her stomach. I had just about enough in my account to buy a pizza. Meat Feast seemed the obvious choice from what I had seen. I would buy a pizza, take it round, and she would devour it, and I would try again. My name is David, what's yours? Genius is simple, I thought, as I carried the pizza to her house. I waited for a moment at the base of the porch, expecting her to have seen me again, make an appearance. My heart was beating 10 to the dozen. Nothing. No swinging open door, not even a creak. The smell of the pizza was drifting up at me. I went to knock on the door, and when I touched it, it moved. It was not locked. I pushed it open an inch, called out quietly, "Hello?" There was no reply. I can't really tell you what I was thinking apart from the prospect of seeing her again. "Hello?" I tried again. Still nothing. So I opened the door and went inside. The room I entered was dark and kind of smelly, to be honest. To be very honest, it smelt like a public toilet on a hot day. There was not much furniture, no carpet. My eyes were adjusting to the darkness, and I thought I could make out tear marks across one of the chairs, as if someone had slashed it. They're going through hard times, I reminded myself. That was why I was here. The knight in shining armor, with his greasy cheese and tomato and pepperoni and beef and salami and chicken treasure. "Hey," I said. My voice was getting shaky at this stage. It was pretty creepy in there, and no one appeared to be at home. I could make out the shape of another open door at the far end of the room, but I could not see where it led, and did not have the backbone to find out. I decided to call it a day. I would find somewhere to leave the pizza, and next time I saw her, I would explain it was from me, as the start of a beautiful conversation. I was looking around for a surface that was closest to clean when I heard a snarl. My guts tightened. They had a dog. Sounded like a big one. I was considering dropping the pizza and running when I saw 2 specks of red coming towards me through the gloom from the direction of the open door. Something on 4 legs that snarled again. The pizza box was shaking real bad in my hands by now, and my fingers had dug into the cardboard. I felt the heat of the pizza burning my fingertips, but I could not ease up. I was terrified, and then things got a whole lot worse. A second creature padded out into view. It too walked on all 4 legs. Its eyes were red, bloodshot, and it brought with it a stench of stale urine and much worse. I started to gag, wanted to scream, because now my eyes were fully adjusted to the darkness. I could see that this was not a dog, but a woman. She was smeared in filth. She crept towards me, paused, sniffed. The first creature came up to her side. It was a man, a feral, dirt-encrusted man, but human. His hair was matted and jumping with fleas. He was staring at me. Suddenly he bared his teeth and reared up. My bladder let go. Sure, love can make you lose control. Fear, raw, pure fear, can do much worse to you. And then she appeared. She walked out into view. The girl next door. My trash can girl. She was wearing the same t-shirt and denim shorts. Her face was fixed into an expression of pure concentration. She was struggling with something. I had no idea what until she said, "No." Her voice was cracked, strained. She was clearly finding it a fight to speak, but she persevered. "Mom, Dad, please, no." The man who had reared up dropped back onto all 4s and began to circle me. Drool hung from his mouth and left a trail across the bare floorboards. I stood there shaking, trying not to move, trying not to breathe. The girl remained very still. The only thing she did was tilt her head to one side, as she had done that first time we met, and I realized that she wanted to know what was in the box. I lifted the lid so she could see the pizza, held out the box to her. She moved towards me until we were close enough to touch. She took the box from me and walked away. The man and the woman followed, she on 2 legs, they on 4. Left alone, I started to cry. Over the last few days, I have got my act in gear. I have written a resume and am spending all my time applying for jobs. I have also emailed my old college, asked them if there's any way back for me. I am determined, more determined than I ever have been in my life. As soon as I can, I'm going to get the hell away from here. I'm going to ask her to come with me. Thank you for listening. That was I Call Her the Trash Can Girl because she will not tell me her name.
Don't forget to like the video, it does help to boost the channel.
Leave a comment for the algorithm.
There's new stories every Sunday.
Not to mention the shorts on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So subscribe.
And ring the bell.
Thanks, guys. And, as always, stay sleepless.